Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Street Talk, what we do, we talk about things happening here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Political, social, and economics. Now, tonight, joining me,
Dennis Burnside.
Charles Thomas.
Paget Maynard.
we got a bunch of stuff to cover. But first of all, this weekend we had these marches from San Francisco to New York. I mean, there was a lot of people out.
March for Life.
Yeah. And we, it's not funny. You know, it's really ridiculous. But here we got a black man up here defending the NRA. What you say about that, Patrick?
I heard it said before, every man has his price. Obviously, they found his price. They were willing to meet it, and so they got him. He may not be really believing what he's saying. It might be for him an advert. And people do advertisement, and they don't really buy the product, but they're paid to say it, so they say it. So maybe he's just one of those.
Yeah. Well, but see, the thing is that, you know, for a black man to be up here talking anything about this junk, you know, NRA and all that old junk, and it just don't make no sense. You know, it makes no sense at all. Not to me. You know.
Well, you said it. Not to you.
If you look at the issue, though, the young people who were brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
They had specific goals in mind. They didn't come out here saying you need to do something.
Yeah.
They said we want these things done, and they said we want to outlaw military-grade weapons on the street. We want to outlaw that.
Yep.
We want to outlaw high-capacity magazines. We want to outlaw that.
Yes.
We want to have a mandatory age of 21 before you could purchase guns. They want to change that law. They want to outlaw bump stocks. They went after specific things. And what this cat that you're talking about did on the NRA is he turned this into a broad, general discussion about the Second Amendment, of which most people are ill-informed. They don't know how the Second Amendment was changed by the NRA with lobbyist money to mean that you have this individual right to keep and bear arms, which is not what it was for the majority of the United States history. The courts did not interpret it that way.
No.
But be that as it may, let's say that it does give you the right to keep and bear arms. I don't have a problem with somebody having a pistol, a shotgun, or a rifle in the house to hunt or for personal protection. I just don't. Because I'd be a hypocrite if I said that.
I don't either.
Because I think things have degraded so far in our society that you almost would be crazy not to be able to arm yourself and protect yourself in your home, in your car, and out here in public.
Yeah.
But that's not what these children are talking about. And I think my man who's cooning for the NRA is diverging it to another conversation so that he get more people outraged and riled up and be opposed to these young people when they should be proud of these young people and backing them up.
That's what irritated me is like now you got, and again, a few people out here now, well, they should be in school. It's like, why can't they?
Wait a second. They're saying they should be in school?
You know, all
Do
these.
they know that learning is not just sitting in the classroom?
Well,
These folks came out and they're putting their learning into action.
Absolutely.
yeah,
And learning
That's
in the
the
classroom
crux
ain't
of
all
it.
they getting either. They also getting bullets in the classroom,
Yeah.
which is the reason why they're out there
That's
protesting.
right.
yeah. But I remember getting out of the Army. When I got out of the Army at Fort Lewis, coming into Seattle, there was one side on there who was for the war, one side was against the war. And do you know, most of those people were young people.
Yeah. Yeah. Society have always used, college age kids and high school kids
Yeah.
to get their point across.
Yeah.
It was a set in the college kids that set in the, back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Those are college kids. And,
Yeah.
they expressed themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably why the war ended.
Yeah.
the
Just
protests.
because
Yeah.
because they had a draft
Ohio
and the draft wasn't there wasn't the economic draft that we have today, where only the very poor and the brown and the black and the very poor white go.
Yeah.
So people say, hey, if they want to go and spend 10 years in Afghanistan, 12, 15 now, Iraq, that's fine. But if you pulling me out of Princeton,
Yeah.
if you pulling me out of Michigan State, if
You
you
got a
pulling me out of
problem.
University of Chicago, you pulling me out of University of Texas, we got a problem.
Right.
And that's where the protest started.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of self-motivation. And I always caution people,
Ethnic
take
cleansing.
advantage of these young people's spirit and their sense of fairness while they're young, because people change. The very same people sitting in front of the TV watching Fox News cheering on Sean Hannity
Yeah.
and all those other kooks were the same ones who were protesting the wars back
Yeah.
in the late
Oh, yeah.
60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
People change over time.
Yeah.
So don't get overblown with this. Well,
Oh,
these
no,
young people are
no.
going to take over. Now, young people are always to the left.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
become
that's what that
jaded,
guys.
and they become fearful, and they become hateful, and that's when they move to the right.
Yeah.
I think, like one of you said, we should be applauding these youngsters.
Oh yeah.
Because number one, they are willing, ready, and able
Yeah.
to get out there.
Mhm.
And by the way, I don't know if you listened them. They were very well spoken.
Oh yeah. That's the thing about
These
it.
guys,
Yeah.
these kids were not out there just some old foolish rum-dum
Right,
talk.
right.
They were well organized.
Yep.
Man, it could be, you would think they were coached into it, but we know they were not.
No.
Everything came from them
Yeah.
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. How their
We
their
as
true feeling.
adults, we
Yeah.
have got to stop and listen
Mm-hmm.
to our youngsters, because, rightly speaking, we keep saying, oh, they're the future, they're the leaders of tomorrow. But then when they make a stand, you say, oh, they're this, they're that.
Yeah.
You try to put them down.
Yeah.
Let them speak,
Mhm.
and then you take note and move forward with it, because you have to be futuristic.
Mhm. Yeah. And one of the things is that I feel good looking at them, taking this thing on, because we've got, I would say, about a fourth, maybe a third of the people. They just think that these army weapons and all that are it's your right to have them. It's like, I mean, what it is, man.
Hey
Yeah.
guys,
It's just
I
sad.
got to
It's-
throw in a little something here. I bet you Trump is gonna come out and say it was just a few people out to it, and his inauguration and his meetings bring out more people. But you had over 1 million youngsters out there,
Oh, you had they was from San Francisco to
and abroad.
to New York.
Not
Oh, it's
just
all
here.
over the world.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even overseas, and Trump signed something the day before. He signed some kind of junk the day before. some about
I'm off the wall.
yeah. He called himself signing something. What was it?
I can't recall.
Can you recall what it was? It was something.
I haven't followed him up these couple of days.
Yeah, it was something he
Get him to tell you
signed
something.
just before this. You know, he called himself getting some kind of word in or getting some. I mean, it was nothing. Nothing. What he. You know, I think he said get rid of the God. I mean, it's like it wasn't nothing what he was talking about. You know.
Yeah.
But you were saying, Patrick.
Man, the Donald is so pitiful.
Well, you know, I mean,
Whoever gets his ear last, he goes with that person.
you know.
And even when he had the youngsters come to the White House, look at his attitude. He's supposed to be listening to them. Did he follow through on anything? Listen to all these things. This youngster said, look, Australia from 1999, they put something in place. They haven't had any more of school shootings.
No.
Why don't we go and ask them?
No.
Of course, he can't go because
They
he
don't
was
want it.
rude to the prime minister.
Right, yeah. And you know, the thing is that you look at all these other countries, man. You know, they got some tight. Even Canada got some tight gun laws and everything. Here in the Second Amendment.
Well, they don't have an NRA. Well, not only do they not have a constitutional right to have a well-regulated militia, and that conveys onto them a right to keep and bear arms, it's totally been distorted. But say it was written as it's interpreted today, and that gives you an individual right to bear arms. You still wouldn't have the effect that you have today without the NRA, because what the NRA does is they're pretty much like a protection racket for these politicians.
Yeah.
They give them millions of dollars.
Yep.
They blackmail these guys. They put them in a position where they can't say no to any type of reasonable, or say yes rather, to any type of reasonable gun regulation, because they're purchased, they're owned, they're paid off, and then the NRA turns around, and their sole constituent is the gun manufacturers. They make money off what the NRA does. So every time there's a mass shooting, gun sales go up.
Oh yeah.
People say, I want that AR-15, I want that Bushmaster, I want that M16, I want whatever was used in that situation. So the NRA is pimping death. They're the puppets of the gun manufacturers, and the NRA buys and sells politicians for that benefit, and they'll use any rationale to keep this money train coming in.
And the other thing too that we're overlooking is white America is expecting a war between the races, and so they want to be armed, and they want to. I know when I go to a range, I always ask myself, like when you play the 8-ball, why is the 8-ball the last one to shoot? Why is all the targets black?
Yeah. You know.
Why can't they have a different background and some other color? You know.
I think there's some truth to that, Chuck. I don't know if I would say most white gun owners have that attitude, but I say enough of them that we ought to be afraid.
Yeah.
If you look at it, man, I think the number is if you look at gun ownership in the United States, man, it's less than 40% of the population owns a gun. Of those who own a gun, it's 3%. It's only 3% of gun owners who have these arsenals that have these gun cases, with all these military
Safes.
rifles and safes full of different types of guns and pistols and muskets. You know, they're fetishizing it. That's a very small amount of people, but I think they're motivated by something you put your finger on. They're looking for that ultimate
race war.
confrontation.
Yeah.
And it could very well be a race war, which is
Bunkers.
one more reason why. You know, there's a debate, I don't know if you guys caught it, but there's a hip-hop artist named Killer Mike, and he's pretty progressive in all of his social positions. He's a big Bernie Sanders supporter during the campaign, so he's to the left. But on this issue, he was actually on the NRA show being interviewed by that coon you was talking about, and he was advocating, he said, you know, we fish, hunt, and farm is our history of my people, and we love to own guns. And I told my children that they go out there and march, that they better keep on marching to a new house because they can't come back here. Where I told my daughter I was proud of her for going to gun. But see, I think Mike again is making that distinction is failing to make that distinction between what the children who organize a March for Life are advocating for, and what he advocates for.
Right.
Big Mike, nobody's talking about taking your hunting rifle.
Right.
Nobody's talking about taking your shotgun. And nobody's talking about taking your pistol that you want to protect your house. What we are talking about is taking these military-grade weapons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, away.
Yeah.
Why can't we have some type of sensible regulation? It's not as if we haven't had in the past. We just had a till very recently, we had a military arms prescription in this country that was passed under Bill Clinton. That was turned around with the devil Scalia and his Supreme Court decision. So it's not as if we haven't lived for decades and decades and decades and decades in this country without sensible gun regulation. Now, how much is enough? During the '68, when Bobby Kennedy was assassinated, any gun was seen as a threat, and that's back during the time of pretty reasonable gun regulations. When Bunchy Carter and John Huggins and all those cats in the L.A. Panthers and Oakland Panthers started walking up on courthouses with rifles and shotguns strapped on their back, all of a sudden Ronnie Reagan so far to the right he's almost left. They couldn't wait to regulate guns. So it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of where you are in life as to whether or not you need a gun, but let's not be so naive that we think that no regulation is the only way things should be, and it's just a Second Amendment right, and there's nothing we can do. There's a lot we can do, and I think these children are showing us that.
Yeah. You know, if these folks, the lawyers, the politicians, if they would stop and really look at the Constitution and read the Second Amendment carefully, they will conclude that they were wrong all this time. But are they going to admit they were wrong?
No.
Now remember, basically what you said a while ago, they already sold their souls to the NRA.
Yeah.
And therefore they can't turn back now.
Yeah, but the average person will now believes that the Second Amendment says, well, we can own any kind of weapon, but
it doesn't.
No, but the thing is that now people believe it.
Well, the Constitution is what people who read it say it is. It's in the eye of the beholder, and sometimes the problem is you get some jerks in the Supreme Court who read that Constitution and they interpret it in ways that are just anathema to any type of justifiably or a society that's seeking justice. Look at Plessy versus Ferguson. Look at Brown versus Board of Education and the reason why that came to be. You look at all these decisions, it's because someone read that Constitution and said, black folks can sit in the back of the bus. You have no rights which a white man must respect. Women, you don't have the right to vote. It didn't say that in the Constitution. You get a guy like Scalia, who's supposed to be a strict constructionist. He said that whatever was in the mind of the founding fathers when they wrote that document is exactly what the Constitution should say. It's not supposed to be interpreted to reflect modern times and mores and technology. It's supposed to only represent what they thought at that time. Well, if that's the case, if Scalia is taken to his logical conclusion, may he rest in hell, I wish it was a hell so he could be there, then we're all supposed to be enslaved. Because when the Constitution was written, we were 3/5 of a man, which is why they came up with the Constitution.
Considered unhuman.
Exactly. We were less than. We were 3/5 of a human, which is why they came up with the congressional, the college of for voting, man, to give the states that had a lower white population but a high slave population equal amount of votes as the New England states, who had very few black people but a lot of white folks. It's always been reflective of inequity in our society.
Go ahead.
And that goes back to that issue that we were talking before we came on air about fear. As long as our community are not willing to stand up and commit to economics, then we are going to continue to be ostracized or murdered on the street because we are vulnerable because we don't have economics. And I think the greatest sin is the lack of money. To have money is good, but the lack of money is even worse. And our community is lacking economics. And until we get ourselves together, we're always going to be picked on, fingered, and You know, laws made against us.
So I don't think we lack economic
Well,
power.
until we control it.
We lack an economic plan.
Right.
We got we if you look at the earning power of African Americans in the United States, we would have the 6th or 7th largest economy in the world.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of dough.
Right.
What we don't have is an economic plan
Planning is
that takes advantage of that for the benefit of us all. That's what we don't have.
Right. It's helter skelter.
Yeah, yeah, and somebody one day last week they was talking about some black store somewhere down MLK. I don't know where it's at, but he was saying black person had something down there, but he was saying that those taco place open up again. He said on the south side. So people line up. What day was that? Saturday. Said it was lining up.
The grand opening.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about Famous Taco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like
We do business with other folks,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
won't do business with
yeah.
ourselves.
You know, and most of us, if a black store is over here, and the store owned by whites over here, and the black store have something that costs a nickel more, 6 cents more, 7 cents more, oh, I'm going over here. It's cheaper over here.
Yeah, just an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and that's where we at now, though.
Right. But it's because they don't want that black family to have more than what they have. Jealousy, envy, self-hate.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things, man, that
We got to deal with it.
Yeah, we've been trying to deal with that ever since Frederick Douglass and before Frederick Douglass, man. It's like it's something that we've got, and we can't get rid of it.
Right.
I don't know if that might be some of it, man. But if you look from the time of Frederick Douglass, man, we started our own baseball leagues. We built entire cities. We had our own economic structure. At some point, we have to recognize the forces without that are affecting our ability within to turn this thing around economically. It's just not a matter of us not. It's just not a matter of us hating each other or not having some type of a thought about how we could aggregate our money. There's forces arrayed against us, and we'd be naive not to recognize them.
Well,
and to your point, I understand there's this thing out there that the white man's ice is colder. I get that. That is part of it, but it's not. It doesn't explain it all. The same reason why you can go into a town like Charlotte or Eaton Rapids, any of these small towns that used to have entrepreneurial businesses there, and you had barbershops, and you had pharmacies, and you had ice cream. You had all these little small town businesses that thrive for, in the family for generations. The Siegfried's ice cream parlor. Walmart came in, doggone it, they're gone. And why? Because the unions went the way of the dinosaur. People started making less money. They were in dire straits. And that 15-cent savings on that apparatus that they got at Walmart made all the difference in the world to them as opposed to paying 15 cents more at their friend Joe's shop. So it's a lot of different factors go into this, but a lot of this is people just trying to survive, man. And when every penny counts, every penny counts.
Right, but when you're in a situation and you see this truck coming at you and you don't make no adjustments to avoid the truck, then you don't have the right to complain.
No, you do have a right to complain if the truck's running.
But you
up
ain't gonna stop the truck.
Well, hang on, man. If you on the sidewalk and the truck running up on you, you got a right to complain.
You got a right to complain, but complaining ain't gonna stop the truck.
True,
You
but that ain't what you said.
Yeah.
You said you got a right to complain. Now, what do you do about to keep that truck off the sidewalk?
Right.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But, and I understand what both of y'all are saying. Now, even you can leave here right now and go to the wire, and if you didn't see a brother that you know, coming out of the wire, going in the wire, he ain't gonna say anything to you. He ain't gonna say nothing to you. You ain't gonna say nothing to him. I mean, it's like
I always do.
Well,
I make it my business to always speak to my people.
But I'm saying,
especially these young hard cats walking around with that mean mug. They are so hard they can't. I always make a point and say, "Hey, how you doing, young brother? and give them a little smile. Because a lot of times they relax and they give it back because they raised in an environment that punishes them for showing humanity.
Yeah.
And I try to make it my business, man. To show them ain't nothing wrong with
I
being.
will too. I will speak to one of them young ones before I will, dude like me or our age, because. But I'm just saying. So all of that. How are we going to do anything when?
Can't respect one another.
That's right. We can't respect each other. And the thing is that you looking and Vietnamese and all of these other people, man. Vietnamese just come here, man, in '76. The first Vietnamese got here in '76.
Yeah.
And you can go to different towns now, and it's like they got business.
Yeah, an Arab selling you chicken, and an Asian selling black women wigs.
Yeah.
And
they living large.
Yeah.
The black folks still in the projects.
It comes down to a mentality. They came out here. Now, those of us who come here, the folks here think we are here taking away their jobs and whatnot. We didn't come to take anybody's job. Like anybody else, we want to make it. But we made it our business to get educated so we can get a decent job. And a lot of our folks here are willing to sit back, don't put out the effort, and expect to be handed something. You can't sit back and wait for handouts.
Yeah.
Put in the effort. And the difference is, right here, you walk from high school straight into college, university. Where I'm from, we didn't have that. We have to spend a lot of money to come out to get the same education they're just dismissing.
But when our children get education, good education, they don't bring it back to the community. They take it out and other people benefit from it. We don't get a chance to benefit from it because we are helter-skelter and we haven't set up anything for our children to want to come back
But who
to the
does
community.
in this age of corporatism? Who does come back and invest in a little mom and pop business like they used to? Who does?
But we know the problem with corporations, but if you follow that road, then you are going to be subjected to corporate structure.
Well, let's be real about this. You coming out of school now, just a 4-year degree, you're going to have near $100,000 in debt if your parents weren't able to pay it. And you're going to tell that person who just spent all this time getting a viable degree, say it's in chemistry, economics, or whatever. They've got a marketable skill. Mm-hmm. You're going to tell them they're not going to go to work for a company that's going to pay them 6 figures? Because they got some kind of political agenda. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't. I'm just talking about the reality of it. It's not black folks who are doing this in a way that's unique to the rest of society. We live in the age of corporatism, which is the reason why you don't have those small mom and pop businesses like you used to have in the black community and in the community at large. And the reason why it's so difficult for people to come out and hang up that shingle and be an entrepreneur. You got to go to work for Big Uncle Big Box.
But that's what I'm saying. If you had economical structure, you can send those out of your community money. You can send those kids to get those degrees and bring them back to the community to utilize it. Don't let them come out of their pocket. Set something in place so that they can borrow from that economical breadbasket.
Okay. We got to go, gentlemen. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and we catch you down the next block. Peace. Want to do another one?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power. And I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.